Hello, fabulous Capricorn. Welcome to your weekly horoscope for the week of September 15th, 2013. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. I have to start with big apologies to all the Capricorns out there. Now, normally I do a weekly video, and it covers all 12 signs. Actually, this has just been going on over the course of the summer, and you guys have been receiving it so well, and I'm just so grateful for that. So I'm continuing them on. And this week, for some reason, I did not include Capricorn's weekly look ahead, weekly horoscope. And so I don't know how that happened, but it must have been me or it must have been just some sort of higher wisdom knowing that you are going to receive this video, and I'm going to trust that you are watching this video at the exact right moment for you. So let's talk about your week ahead as a fabulous Cancer. I really want you to think of the first part of the week as building towards the peak days that are taking place. The 18th, the 19th, and the 20th. Really important days for you. On the 18th, we have Venus meeting Saturn in the sky and speaking kindly with Pluto in your sign. And then the next day, we have Pisces, a full moon in Pisces, another very compatible sign to you. And then the following day, on the 20th, we have Pluto going direct in your sign. So while these really important astrological conversations are taking place, this phenomenon is taking place, any one of which would be a big deal, you have Pluto going direct, standing still for much of the week, and then finally moving ahead towards the late part of the week in your sign. Now, Pluto direct, I believe, is going to be the really big sort of mover in the sky. And what I mean by that is, when we think about Pluto, Pluto denotes significant change. It denotes the life, death, rebirth cycle. Some of the most famous or some of the most well-recognized symbols of Pluto and Plutonian energy have to do with the snake shedding dead skin and has to do with the phoenix rising from the ashes. So you have had Pluto in your sign 2008. Since 2008, you've been getting used to this energy. Now, for the most part, it's been people in the early part of your sign, now slowly moving into the middle part of your sign. So people born within the first 10 to 12 days of your sign are the ones who've been experiencing this energy strongest. So people born basically in the month of December, the first days of January. But all Cancerians have been experiencing this energy and will be right into the next decade, because the universe, you are so blessed, the universe is intent on getting you to rebirth yourself, to really start a new life from the inside out, to be reborn again as a much more authentic version of you, a version of you that just really lets go of stuff that doesn't matter, anything superfluous, and recognizes what's real and recognizes what's true for you and right for you and where it is that you are going. So this week, again, regardless of when it is in your sign that you're born, this week is a very important part of this long-term process. So let's start with Venus, because I do think, as I said, these 3 days are really when a lot of the activity is going to be happening for you. And let's start with Venus meeting Saturn. Usually that's a very serious sort of, that's sort of like makeup or breakup type of thing. Like either this is going to last, you get honest with yourself, this is going to last, or it isn't. And if you feel that it isn't, you're gone. Like that's it. And you understand that. It tends to denote, the interesting thing about Saturnian energy is that it is associated with endings of sorts, but more than that, it's associated with mortality. It's associating with understanding that your time is valuable and the time here is finite, and that it's one thing to say, it's one thing to have a dream, it's one thing to believe, right? If you look at last week, we had Venus speaking kindly with Neptune. Now that's all about the dream. That's all about the fantasy. That's all about the hope and belief. But Saturn says, is it real? And if it's not real, you're going to let it go. And so this is a really strong pill of truth that, and especially where it comes to love, for some money, but I think for most Capricorns out there, this is going to have to do with love. You're going to really just get this understanding that you need. And because it's speaking so kindly with Pluto, you make the changes that you need, and you are so empowered in the process. And that's what I really love about this energy that starts building for you, especially once we get you to the middle of the week, is that you are recognizing the truth, but rather than letting it weigh you down, it empowers you. It encourages you to make a change. Now, for some of you, in all honesty, considering this is at a full moon, considering this is Pluto going direct, for some of you, you are going to experience a breakup, but it seems that it's a really great thing. It seems that it's such a good thing for you. So those of you who decide that you're better off going solo, it's almost as if this occurrence or this decision on your part has an all-encompassing positive effect on your life. And it reminds me of, I'm sure so many people out there have had examples and seen other people, or maybe yourself have had this example where someone goes through a breakup, and even if it's just a small relationship, or even if it wasn't a relationship, but in some way they recognize that some love dynamic, because love, it hits so deeply within us. It's such a hugely important part of the human experience. When we recognize that something isn't working, and you see this again and again, people, they go through a breakup and they may be devastated at first, but then you meet them 6 months down the road and they are doing amazing things. They look great, they walk different, energy's running through their body different, they're doing things that are fulfilling, that are fun. They're really embracing their life and taking on new adventures. And it's because that relationship provides the opportunity for rebirth that they need. It's almost as if they go through that hard time as part of the process, and the person that they're with is just sort of incidental even, right? It's just a symbol of what it is that they realize they no longer desire to be. And so they do the work, and that in turn leads them to great happiness and great fulfillment. And so I want you to remember that if you feel that something is ending. But it is very possible for others that this is going to be about solidifying what is there and actually deepening a commitment. And so if that is the direction you see yourself going in, then it does look like it comes with an element of rebirth as well, where you recognize what you need to do differently if this relationship is going to grow stronger. And you also realize where not only what you need to do differently, but what has to be different here. Yes, there's an element of you, but also an element of where you need to grow, where you need to change. And being honest with yourself about whether or not you're up for that. And if you are, then it can really solidify the bond very strongly. But remember, it takes two people to decide that. Okay. Then you get the full moon. So emotions are really coming up to the surface. Really lunar events, lots of really like power players and lots of movements happen in the sky on any given basis. Especially where it comes to the outer planets, the conversations of the outer planets can last a really long time. But with the moon, it's almost as if we need lunar activity to trigger the growth, to trigger changes, to trigger awarenesses especially. And so the fact that you're having a new moon at this time, and this new moon is really highlighting your mind, your awareness, big theme here, awareness, perceptions, getting clear on a level of mind, getting honest with yourself about what you see, about what you're telling yourself, and what the reality is. So all of these themes are playing out. And as I said, yes, for most of you, this is going to be connected to love as well. I see like conversations sort of contributing to this element. But for a lot of you, it'll have a much larger effect as well. It's going to have to do with the way that you're communicating with others, the way in which people are perceiving the energy behind what you're saying, and if that is actually genuine, and where there may be some truth to that, and where maybe you could use some changes as well. So we need those moons to sort of make us aware of these larger conversations that are taking place. And for you, the larger conversation is, as I said, Pluto going direct. This is huge. This is really big. Pluto going direct, and Pluto going direct in your sign. When Pluto goes direct, especially right around the days, so really this whole week you want to watch, because it denotes a time when we really understand where change needs to happen, where we are, in a sense, establishing a sense of truth within ourselves. But more than that, we understand what needs to change, what needs to be reborn. We understand where energy has been stagnant, because ultimately what doesn't change stagnates and withers away. Life is change. Life demands a constant rebirth, constant life, death, rebirth. Every life demands that, and especially if you're living a life where you want to be more aware and you want to be more spiritual and you want to become all that you are supposed to be, all that you're meant to be, and fulfill your potential and do everything it is that your soul desired to do before you incarnated, there is going to be an element of life, death, and rebirth that takes place in your life. With Pluto going direct and first standing still, mind you, that is a very important part of the process. But it is the forward motion that finally allows a shift to happen, that allows you to feel a shift in your energy, that allows you to feel a change. And I do think that you're going to understand, thanks in part to some of the romantic experiences you've had of late or some of the exchanges you've had with a partner who matters to you, you are going to understand where it is that your energy needs to shift, what it is that needs to happen with you. Now, friends do seem to be playing a part of this, friendships, so whether you're communicating with them, whether you're sharing your journey with them, your process, whether they're shedding new light, whatever the case may be. But also I am seeing that there is some clarity gained through a friend and possibly kind of indirectly through a friend, so just be mindful of that as well. But for the most part, it looks like you are moving forward. You are shifting gears, if you will. And you are understanding what your next steps are much more clearly than you have before. And I think that that makes you one of the luckiest people this week, and one of the people who really is able to grab the horns of your power and grab the horns to meaningful change. Okay, we'll stop there. I hope my extra long weekly horoscope for you makes up for my lapse there, and I really hope that you received this omen exactly when it was that you were supposed to. I believe so, and I hope that there's an appreciation for you as well. Thank you so much for watching. For extended horoscopes, so much more. Of course, there's my website, nadiyashah.com. And now I have all these expanded horoscopes, and I've been launching all kinds of fabulous things on my YouTube channel. So I hope that you check that out. And thank you again so much for your trust and this moment with you. Until we connect again, take care.